Tom Condon. How are you, Tom?
Hey, Rich, how you doing?
I am doing fine. When did you first learn from Peyton that this was it?
He called me 2 days ago and said that the Broncos were going to announce it, and then he was going to go through the ceremony on Monday, because initially he was just going to have the Monday ceremony be where he was going to thank the Broncos organization, his teammates, and the fans. And then he made the decision in between time. So it was, and then it was obviously a very impressive performance by him.
Oh my gosh, it really was great, and he's getting kudos and hosannas for the way that he wrote his speech and delivered it, and it had all the Peyton Manning hallmarks of reverence for the game and moments of sense of humor. That said, Tom, it did take a while for him to make his decision. Did at any point he instruct you, or you go out to kick the tires on other teams to see if Peyton did come back, want to try it one more time, that there'd be a willing partner for it?
No, not really, Rich. It was one of those things where every once in a while I'd have an informal kind of a conversation, because let's face it, you can't go to the combine without having that come up, right?
That's right.
And so, but no, there wasn't any real discussion about it, because I thought that we ought to let him, go through the decision-making process as to whether or not he wanted to try it again, or if he was satisfied with how this season had ended and have that be the end of his football career.
Well, I mean, we just played the soundbite where he says he misses he'll miss having a St. Elmo steak after a win, or calling and talking about the game with his dad, or finding out if the Giants won. He could still do all that if he wants to stay in the game as a decision maker like Elway, or maybe even get into part ownership, as people are saying. Any insight you can give us? What do you think Peyton is going to do next, Tom?
Rich, it's one of those things where I don't ask him. And I always know that when he's made his decision and he wants to tell me, he will. And that's just the way it happened with his retirement. And so, he's taking a little bit of time off now. I think he's playing some golf and then going to take a few days off. And then I'm sure that, because of his personality, he'll start to think about what's next.
Has he ever mentioned at all interest in you in any of the above, or television at any point in time?
He hasn't during his football time, he's never expressed an interest in virtually anything else. Although I've suggested a lot of things for him.
Okay.
And so it was, as a for instance, I think clearly, and I spoke with Bill Polian about this yesterday, and Bill said he was absolutely qualified to run a team. But that's not all. He clearly would be, I think, terrific if he went the broadcasting route. And I think politics is a little bit of a different smoke, but nevertheless, I think he'd be terrific at that as well.
What type of candidate would he be, Tom, as a politician? What do you think?
Yeah, he would be a prepared candidate, I'll tell you that.
Okay. He would definitely know how to debate, because I know, speaking to a lot of people in the media, he would go back and forth sometimes with some of the members of the media off the air. So when it all comes down to it, though, when do you think, just knowing him, we'll hear from him again? I know he's going to be out there in Indianapolis next week, but when do you think he's going to sit down and make a decision about what he's going to do next?
Well, he's obviously got as much time as he wants, so I would think that he'll have some separation from the actual playing part of it for a while, and then I would guess that he starts to sift through his opportunities, and let's face it, they're going to come fast, right?
Yeah, sure. Tom Condon joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, let's go to your next first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback that's on your roster, Drew Brees. What can you tell me about his contract situation?
He's in the last year of his deal. He signed a $20 million a year contract, and that was just going on. This would be his sixth year coming up. And so the club had the right to renegotiate for cap purposes during the life of the contract, and have done that. which pushed the cap number up to $30 million this year. So that's where it stands right now, and I'm guessing that we'll probably have some conversations with the Saints here coming up in the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, because, I mean, $30 million, that is a number that is high, to say the least. So do you think there will be any issues? I mean, what does the tea leaves read for you on this front, Tom?
Well, I think, the salary cap has increased pretty dramatically here over that 6-year period of time. And last 3 years, we've seen probably an average of $10 million a year per team increase. So I think that if the Saints wanted to, they could leave it like it is and live with that $30 million number. But it would clearly give them some more options if we could do an extension on Drew and drop that cap number. I remember doing Payton one year, and he had an $18 million cap number, and that was a long time ago. And we were able to drop that to 6, and we could have dropped it even farther than that, but the club was happy with the 6.
I'm on the phone with Tom Condon here on the Rich Eisen Show. On a day that Calvin Johnson retires, you go down the list in terms of most prolific 3-year receiving runs. After Calvin Johnson, there's Antonio Brown, who's dancing. Do you handle that part of his life too, Tom? The dancing part?
For whom?
For Antonio Brown?
I don't have him.
Okay, wow, because he's sitting here on the list. Let me move on then. Let's move on here to other clients of yours that I definitely know that you definitely have. Joey Bosa, what are you hearing about him on his front right now, Tom?
Well, it's obviously early in the process, and we've gotten through the combine, and now we'll have pro day and individual workouts and team visits, and I represented his father, John, and his uncle Eric. So and they were both first-round draft choices of the Dolphins. So he certainly has some good bloodlines. But yeah, I mean, Joey really is a special player, and he's got great athleticism as well as strength, and his motor runs really high.
Okay,
so he's got a really high football IQ too. As a matter of fact, I would guess that he's going to have put up a really good Wonderlic test score.
Are you saying that just because I'm a Michigan man, Tom? Is that what you're saying to try and...
All those Michigan guys, they all bang out those big scores. They had Jake Long and Steve Hutchison, and they were all high.
Right. I love that. So let me ask you this question, and I know these aren't. I know for sure that these aren't your clients. But there are a couple of quarterbacks that are out there that are represented by the same agent right now in Osweiler and Fitzpatrick. How do you, as an agent, handle when you do have two clients that are out there that maybe you get a call from the club and they ask about one, and depending on your answer, they move on to another? How do you balance that as an agent in this day and age, Tom?
Well, as a matter of fact, that's my partner, Jimmy Sexton.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, and to tell you the truth, there has really never been a time since the inception of free agency when there was an elite quarterback that hit the open market. And so we've got a situation now where I don't think that you would have either one of those guys where you would be talking about them as elite status, but nevertheless, very good players. And obviously, Osweiler's got a huge upside, and let's face it, this is a lot about if you don't have the quarterback, it's really hard to think that you're going to have a chance for the championship, and so I think that Osweiler will be in a great deal of demand, and I think that the Jets will try hard to keep their quarterback as well.
So, but if somebody says, Osweiler, hey, what about this number? And then a number's thrown out there and it might be too high, and they move on to Fitzpatrick. I mean, does one client help another? I mean, do you sort of try and get everybody together based on where they've said where they want to go? Or how do you, as a representative, advocate in a situation like that? Essentially,
Yeah,
what I'm wondering.
and most of the time, the club is looking for something specific, and so if there is a huge age discrepancy, that's important for them. If the skill set of one player versus another dictates a different offense, then that also sometimes eliminates one of those guys. And so, to tell you the truth, it's never really been a problem.
Okay. Last question for you. This tampering window, the free agency has essentially begun, right, Tom? I mean, for all intents and purposes, I know there are rules that you need to follow as a certified agent in this world, but it seems to me as if the tampering window is just another way to call the first 2 days of free agency. Would that be a safe, correct assumption?
Well, from the club standpoint, they're prohibited from signing any contracts, and but nevertheless, they can negotiate and exchange offers and do all of that. So, so it's really when you can, but a lot of times prior to the time when you can actually sign the contract, everybody's nervous. The club's nervous, the agent's nervous, and so is the player, because you never know if the deal's going to fall apart. Or if somebody's going to renege on you,
right?
So I think tomorrow you'll see a flurry of contracts that'll go off, almost immediately.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time away from the very busy time to call in and reminisce about Peyton and give us an update on some of your clients. Thanks for calling in, Tom. I appreciate it.
Okay, Rich. Always good talking with you.
Same here. That's Tom Condon.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.